Joining us here in studio, the Hall of Famer, Thurman Thomas. Welcome, Thurman.
Good. How you doing, man?
You having a good week?
Having a great week.
You getting dressed up like this guy is for Halloween?
Oh, no. No. My grandkids are young. They wouldn't even know the difference between Halloween.
We had this
costume
conversation a little bit ago.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins are limping in here defensively. They got nobody showing up. They're 2-5. They got nothing's going on, and
Nothing.
And the Bills here got a huge lead in the division. How
3-game.
How do you keep from taking your foot off the gas if you're the Bills? I mean, what's your message the whole week? How do you keep the guys from playing
down
to
the level?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're at home. And I think that helps a lot. I think being at home helps a lot. And these guys know what's at stake. I'm sure Sean McDermott has told them and has relayed to them about the importance of playing in a divisional game. Really. Playing in a divisional game, yeah. They're 2-5, but they still got a number of guys on their offense that could, be a terror in the secondary. I mean, they still have guys that can play. They just haven't put it together all year. And,
Tua helps them now that he's back in.
He does. He does help.
They scored 28 points last week, so it wasn't like even in the first game back they didn't fall down. I mean, they played well offensively. Defensively, because of the injuries and the losses, they can't stop anybody.
Yeah, this is where, your leaders come through. Vaughn is coming back, and I think that's going to be a big plus. And then, and I think on the side of the Dolphins, I mean, without really just, feeling it, but I got to feel like this organization, McDaniel's the head coach and the coaching staff and just kind of the players are they sitting over there wondering, will it happen again to Tua? That has to be in the back of their mind.
I was telling Steve, I was watching some of the film from last week's game. So it's Tua's first game back. They're playing the Cardinals. And I know that McDaniel calls a game to get the ball out of Tua's hands fast, but it seemed even more accelerated last week. And I'm wondering if it's in McDaniel's consciousness that he's back. This is his first game back. I'll be damned if I'm going to let him get hit. I'm going to get the ball out of his hand even faster.
Yeah.
I kind of felt just watching the game, it seemed like that.
Yeah.
And on the road, up here, against a team that's knocked him out of a game 3 times in his career.
Has it been 3 times?
AJ hit him on the third play of the game in 2021, busted his rib out of the game. Milano,
right?
I have a concussion. I don't have a concussion. It's my back.
Yeah.
And then week 2.
Lamar Hamlin, yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what McDaniel's approach is going to be to keep Tua out of harm's way.
Yeah, but I think if, you just said that about releasing the ball a little bit quicker, timing's got to be off. I mean, DB's got to be
and it limits you too, doesn't it?
It does limit you at all. And DB's got to be sitting on. I mean, there's going to be hitches and, slants all day. So watch out. It could be, 5 picks in the first half. Seriously. I mean, because look, I mean, the way that I think that this defensive line is playing with Vaughn coming back, man, it's just going to get better and better as far as the pass rush is going. I don't know if Terrell, is Bernard back? Or we don't.
He's practicing.
He's limited.
But he's practicing. So he's trending in the right direction. The only guy not practicing today is Reggie Gilliam. Everybody else is participating in some capacity. So it's good. They're pretty healthy.
Pretty healthy, right? They're pretty. And then, you look at the Dolphins too. There's been trade rumors about Tyreek Hill now. So, I mean, they're going in the opposite direction. And for me, coming in here, this is not a good matchup for them at all.
No, I mean, the Bills are kind of getting him at a time where they're very vulnerable. And with all this Dolphin stuff in mind, I did want to talk to you a little bit about James Cook, his first 100-yard rushing day of the season last week.
I can't believe this is his first one.
This season,
This season, right.
Because it's been shared stuff, right? It's been a lot of, and they've been up in games too.
Yeah.
And even in Miami, where he had 3 touchdowns, 4 of their drive starts were in Miami territory after turnovers.
Right.
The offense didn't have to do a lot.
Right.
I don't know what it was last week, Thurm, because we've seen James from down to down, series to series, he'll change the way in which he runs and hits a hole. He's patient when he needs to be patient, and he is through a hole like a shot when he needs to have a burst. There aren't many running backs that have that versatile of a skill set. He does.
Yeah.
What did you see from him last week? And was it anything different? Because he just seemed very sure of himself in when to bounce, when to hit it, when to wait. Like, all his decisions were right last week, it seemed.
Yeah, I think that's just, getting more and more confident in himself, really, to be that guy. Because he is that guy. I mean, if you take Josh away from this offense, to me, he's the next guy up.
Well, I've said it.
Right. He's the next guy up.
He's the most dynamic athlete on the team.
Exactly. Yeah, he can catch the ball. He can run the football. And I think he's just getting more and more confident. And knowing that, you know what? Hey, I got a pretty good backup behind me also. So that's going to keep my game up here too. So I don't. As much as I love Ray Davis, I don't want him to take away my carries too.
Right.
So and I just think he's very comfortable in this offense now. They're hitting on all cylinders, especially with the running game. And this offensive line is like, hey, we want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. We want to pound them. And I love it. I love it. It's taking a lot of pressure off Josh. But I just think James Cook is at a level right now where, you're looking at probably another Pro Bowl for him.
Yeah. What about this too? And I've been asking this question all week. What if Keon Coleman is the guy he looked like he was on Sunday? He's blocking a guy into the bench.
Right.
He's knocking pancaked another guy. He's like catching. He's Big Brother in a 6'4" corner on the side in the end zone, catching a touchdown pass.
With one hand.
What if he's that guy?
Yeah.
all the time?
You're talking about having another form of the triplets. Really?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about right now. And we're not even talking about Shakir.
Or Amari.
So, this team is like, look, they have weapons.
Yeah.
They really have weapons. And Josh has to be like, this could be possibly the best team that they've had in 4 years, maybe 5 years, maybe.
Steve and I said it all summer. You've got a younger, more athletic roster, and you had more turnover than you've had in recent years.
Yeah.
And that might take time to put together, but by the time you get to November and December, you might have a better team than you had last year at that time.
Yeah,
much better team, much healthier team as well.
And Josh is not afraid to throw to any of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these guys.
Yeah, and I think
He's
that's getting better.
Tight ends now and wide receivers, running back, and it's great to see. Like Amari Cooper didn't really have a good game last week. Maybe targeted a couple of times or whatever, but
targeted
it was Keon's.
Twice, one catch. Yeah,
it was Keon's day, and if that's going to be the program for the rest of the year, I'm fine by it.
I know you've always pushed for running the ball more in recent years. They're doing it under Joe Brady. They're running it 49% of the time.
Boy.
So is this the most balanced offense you've seen maybe since the Shady McCoy years when it's probably the most balanced offense since then, right?
I would say
because
so.
Daboll was throwing it on first down all the time, and so was Dorsey.
I can't even remember who were the receivers at that time for when Shady was here. I can't even remember.
There weren't a lot of great ones.
There weren't a lot
Kelvin
of great
Benjamin,
ones. Right. Yeah.
People like that.
Yeah.
Bob Foster.
Yeah.
Robert
Foster. And Shady was just a different type of runner.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just a different type of runner. But I think I can be the offensive coordinator in this group right here. Seriously.
Okay.
You got a lot of weapons that you can go to, and hey, look, this is the reason why they practice, they game plan. I know Seattle didn't have their full strength of DK was out, and they were banged up, and that was a game where come second quarter, if it was a commercial, I was going to do something, and I didn't care when I got back. Because I knew the game was in hand.
Yeah.
You could just feel it.
They had control of the game.
They had control of the game. And I feel like it's going to be – but I was a little worried going from the East Coast to the West Coast. But after, the first quarter, I wasn't worried at all. And I think this will be the same way this week.
What do you think is – and I get it, this offense is tough to defend because they have so many ways to beat you. What do you think they do best right now, this offense? And that may be the hardest thing to put your finger on.
Yeah, it might be the hardest thing to put your finger on. You're saying they're running it, 49% of the time? And they're throwing it 51% of the time. So, it's if you're a defensive coordinator right now, you don't know what to do. You don't know who to take out. You don't know, should we double Keon? Should we go man-to-man? Or should we play zone all the time? Defensive coordinators right now are scratching their head to figure out how to stop this offense and who's going to be the lead guy. But right now, it could be anybody.
Right.
And I think that's a great problem to have.
Man.
What do we think about the defense? Vaughn is coming back this week.
Right.
Not that the pass rush has been struggling.
Right.
They've been pretty effective. What have you thought about the combination of Rousseau and Epinesa up front there?
I think they've been playing great. I think they've been playing great, absolutely. And like I say, when Vaughn coming back, this we're getting healthy, and we got 2 more games before we go to the bye week, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, this is, man. I tell you what, it's. I know Kansas City is they're undefeated at 7-0.
Yep.
Yeah. But like I said, maybe a week ago, I would love for them to come in here undefeated. But the Bills have to take care of these next 2 games against the Dolphins and the Colts. So but this defense, I mean, they're putting pressure on every single week. Yeah, and it is not just coming from the outside; it's coming from inside too.
Yeah, and they don't have great sack numbers,
No.
but they get a lot of hits, a lot of pressure. Like they're affecting the passer.
They're affecting the passer that's in the backfield for the quarterback. And you know what? Pressure. Like Bruce used to always say, "Yeah, I know that I might not get to Dan Marino, but if I can tap him on the butt on my way by him, just to let him know that I'm there, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me."
Yeah, it's hard to stand back there. I know they got, good guys at doing it, and Tua is, they get rid of the football so fast, and one of the problems that Miami has with him is that he will run it like he did, in week 2 where he got dinged by DeMar. But he's got to get rid of the ball. Yeah. He's not a runner. He's not a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson.
He's not a second reaction
He's not
player.
a second. They don't really make a lot of plays off schedule. And I think that's one of their most limiting factors. So in a game like this, you know where the quarterback's going to be. You know he's going to be within a 3-yard circle in the middle of that pocket. That's where he's going to be.
I'm playing man-to-man on the outside. I'm playing man-to-man most of the time. Get those wide
even with
receivers.
Tyreek and Waddle.
Get right up in those wide receivers' face. If he's throwing the ball out quick, instead of playing 5 to 6 yards off, I mean, he can throw a hitch anytime, right?
And I'll say this too: I'd play out inside leverage and make him throw it over everybody to get it out there, particularly on the wide side of the field. I don't know if he can do it.
Right.
His ball has some arc on it because it doesn't have the velocity to be flat. And the Bills have always done a nice job of, even when they play zone, when he drops back his first read, he's got to pad it. And it's not there. Yeah. The Bills are doing a good job of recognition and saying, in this down and distance out of this, they're going to throw it to this guy or this area. Let's get in front of that.
Yeah.
And then he has to go to his second read. And when he starts doing that, the offensive line has not been able to hold up.
No.
And it's that quick.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, we'll see if that's the case this time as well.
And Josh is, pretty much. The Bills have pretty much owned the Dolphins.
Yeah, they have
14-2.
One guy.
14-2.
Yeah,
in the last
16.
Wow.
And the other one was the Charles Clay dropped pass off his face mask. The last play of 2019, right?
Yep.
Last play of 2019, and the 2,000-degree heat day down there when they when they couldn't get
ran like 100 plays.
Yeah.
Those are
the 2 wins.
Yeah. One guy who has been productive against the Bills in each of the last couple of matchups is Devon Achane. He only goes 188 pounds, but he's quick as a whip and is dangerous in the open field. I'm just curious, your thoughts on him as a young back now in his second year.
Yeah, you know what? When you look at these backs and you look at what type of offense he should be in, and when I see him, I don't see him really. I don't say he's can't be effective in this type of offense. I look at him as an effective in a Kyle Shanahan type.
So he's
of
a specialty offense guy.
Yeah. I don't think he can carry the ball 20, 25 times a game.
He's not a between the tackles guy. Not a 180.
He's an outside guy, and that doesn't fit the Miami. It fits the San Francisco 49ers more than anybody.
Yeah.
I know they do the stretch play a lot, but they don't have the blockers to do it. And he's making 2 or 3 moves before he even get to the line of scrimmage sometimes.
Right.
and that's tough to overcome.
And you remember in the Week 2 game, they were just throwing those screens to the flats all day.
All day long.
To Achane, he had 7 catches in the game.
Yeah.
And they never stopped doing it, even though the
Even
Bills
though it would
got
stop,
wise
right?
to it.
Yeah, they didn't stop doing it.
I was
so
like,
You run
that's
out
why
of
I'm
that.
wondering what they're going to do this time.
It's happened the last 2 or 3 weeks, and one of the players when they played Tennessee here in this building, after a while, after the game, after they lumped them up pretty good, the Tennessee Titans got out to a 10-0 lead doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
And the defensive players after the game said, "Listen, we knew they were going to run out of those plays. There's only so long you can do that."
Right.
And they were right.
Yeah.
As soon as that menu was used up,
Yeah.
they stopped scoring points, and that was it.
What is their ranked as their run defense?
Their run defense. I'll
think
tell you
it's-
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at that stat, you can probably tell what the Bills are
I
going
think
to do.
they're middle
Middle of the pack, maybe.
like 12th, I want to say, but I don't have it in
Yeah.
front of me.
Rushing yards per game, defensively, Miami is ranked 16th.
Yeah, middle
no, it's
of
the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
ranked 16th.
Well, I mean, that's not horrible, but I think with
They're
the
right
way
in the
that
middle.
this offensive lineman is performing right now, run block and pass block. I mean, you can. The games that they lost, I wish they can play them over again. I think it'll be a different ball game. But you know what? This team is getting healthy at the right time, man, and I'm loving the offense. I'm loving what they're doing. They're hitting on all cylinders right now.
Coach McDermott not happy with the pre-snap penalties last week. There were a handful of them again, and it's been a persistent issue. It hasn't gotten in the way of them winning football games yet.
No, not yet.
But those are discipline type penalties. They're not, if you got a guy like Keon blocking a guy all the way out of bounds into the bench area and he gets a flag for unnecessary roughness, you don't mind the extra effort penalties.
Yeah.
But the discipline penalties, like the pre-snap ones, are
Pre-snap.
the ones that drive coaches nuts, right?
Yeah, and I think being out there, what was it, against Seattle last week? Being out there, I think maybe the crowd noise had a little factor to do something like that. But I think this team, it's at home right now, and hey, they clean up those penalties, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Yeah, I mean that's an easy fix, especially when you're at home. You don't expect to have 8 to 10 penalties at home.
Right.
So I think with them being, hey, I think they know what's at stake here. I mean they can clinch the division within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, which is wild to say.
Which is wild to say.
That may be. I
But-
don't know what the earliest is. I mean, was it week 12 is the earliest it's ever been done?
Oh, is that right?
I'm
Yeah.
something
I
like
haven't
that.
seen
It's,
that.
It's
Yeah.
like we could.
I don't
think
want it
is.
to be done
It's not as
really
early as
early.
you think it is.
Yeah,
that
I
it's
don't
ever been
want it
done.
to be early. Because
Well, I
you
was
kind of
thinking-
Oh, you don't want
got,
them coasting.
You don't
You
want
don't-
them coasting
but
in,
I'll say
like
this
we got
too.
the division run.
I'll say this too. You do have a chance to do some experimentation that last month of the season and get healthy and get fresh and get some guys some development. And I don't have a problem with it. And I know too. You end up you clinch the division in week 10 and you go 2-5 the rest of the way,
Rest of the
right?
way.
So
All of a sudden
I
you-
get it.
you're a
but
fourth seed.
right, right. But by the same token, you do show up to the playoffs, feeling
Really
good.
feeling good. Yeah.
And that means something. Plus, you're still getting reps in games. It's not like you're laying down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't think Sean McDermott will let that happen. This team, whether they clinch it in week 12 or 11 or whatever,
you still got to
they're gonna
go.
be- you still got to go.
If you have a
You
chance
still
for the
gotta play.
1 seed, you still got to
Absolutely.
play.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think.
And I think at that point in time, week 12 or whatever, we'll know if Kansas City is for real or not.
Right.
I mean, obviously they're going to be in the playoffs no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be in the playoffs, but you know what? After we play them, I think it might be a tough road for them too.
Right.
So,
Well, yeah.
there's a lot at stake here.
Well, yeah, and the other thing, too, is the schedule for the Bills gets considerably more difficult later in the season. I mean, you're playing Kansas City, you're playing San Francisco, you're playing on the road at Detroit. Like, there are some tough games down the stretch there for Buffalo. So rack up the wins now while you can.
Yeah, I don't think San Francisco going to be tough. I don't think. Only thing when I look at that, I look at Detroit and maybe San Francisco.
The Rams
Detroit,
are a tougher
yeah.
team than I think people realize, too.
Yeah, I think we can handle them. I just looking at the schedule, I'm like, okay, the Dolphins, the Colts, Kansas City. Will be
You
coming
see them
off a
all
bye
the
week.
time. I don't think Kansas City for the Bills. I know fans hate them and they want to. They think they're this big, but I don't. we play them all the time, and we play them. It's going to be a good game.
They're practically a division opponent
Yeah.
now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every year.
So
Every
they don't
year,
have that. They don't have that big
Mystique.
mystique that other teams seem to give them.
Right.
They don't. You know what I'm saying? We see them all the time.
We see 'em
like
all the
you see
time.
Tennessee goes in there and they're like, oh my gosh, here we go. Let's,
Yeah.
You know, or some of these teams that don't see him or haven't seen him for 4 years or
Yeah,
something.
they're looking at Mahomes going, "Oh my God, do you see him do that?"
and
Right.
for us, it's like, okay,
we know what he
yeah,
can do.
let's go. There's a little bit of that going on. I mean, that's like Bills fans are like, we'll stand in line. Let's go. Or we'll stand in line to go play the Chiefs. Let's go. For other teams,
Every week.
they're like, you go play them first and let us watch them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Why don't you beat them down a little
yeah,
bit?
yeah.
Then we'll play them. Yeah.
So that's different for the Bills fans and the Bills team who see him all the time. It's like the Chargers and the Raiders and the Broncos that, you know, they just want their shot at him.
yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
the Bills are kind of fall into that mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a division game.
Speaking of the division, Thurman, this is my last one that I've got for you. Could you have envisioned the division being this one-sided in favor of the Bills and so horribly disastrous for the rest of the division? I mean, the Bills have as many wins as the rest of the division.
I know. I mean, and to start off this year, you know, a lot of people picked the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Or Miami.
Or Miami.
In fact,
they didn't even say anything about the Patriots. They picked the Jets or the Miami
all
Dolphins.
those guys, all those jokers in NFL Network picked the Jets and Dolphins.
Right.
All
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. And have you watched that lately? And what are they saying?
No,
Well, I don't think they keep their own receipts.
The receipts are coming back.
Okay, yeah. But you know what? But like you said, at the beginning of the season, it was the Jets and the Dolphins that were going to be fighting for the division. And here we are, 2-3 games ahead of all of them. Halfway point, and it's not even close. Neither of those teams are playing well. You can put all those three teams together, and they probably still wouldn't beat the Bills.
So the question I have, though, is how surprising is it that they're that far off the pace already? I mean, certain
Very
circumstances
surprising.
have
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
We know that the Jets owner took the plunger and pushed it down 3 weeks ago, but that much of a distance, I don't know if we anticipated that.
I didn't anticipate that. I expected to go on.
Tight race,
these last 3 games, I expected to be coming
Yeah.
down to these last 3 games.
Patriots,
and
Jets, Patriots
exactly.
for the Bills. Yeah.
It's not like it'll be over by then.
Yeah.
It's going to be over by then. So yeah, hey, hats off to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane and the staff at
Keep
the
on
Buffalo
keeping
Bills.
on.
Keep on keeping on, brother. I keep telling it. You know, hey, McBean is my guy.
Yeah.
We want to remind you that every Bills fan has a story. The Highmark Stadium Tailgate is a unique activation brought to life by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield that allows fans the opportunity to step into a recording studio decked out with Bills history to share their favorite memories. Stop by the Highmark Stadium Tailgate trailer in Lot 6 ahead of Sunday's game with the Dolphins to share your favorite memories at One Bills Drive. From exclusive giveaways to visits from special guests, this is one parking lot party you won't want to miss. If you can't make the game, visit buffalobills.com/Highmark Tailgate, spelled Talegate, and you can submit a story there. Thurman's been pumping this up.
I've been pumping that up. Yeah, we and Patty and I had a great time doing that. It was awesome. Yeah,
Have
I
you
might
been
be
in
there. Yeah.
So you've been in that
Is it nice?
tailgate? It's a pretty good thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's all decked out in there?
I'm a part of it in there.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's all decked out and everything. Yeah, I think I was supposed to go to one, but I couldn't make it. So I might be at this one right here. So come on out, fans. I'll be there.
Lot 6
Lot 6.
on Sunday before the Bills-Dolphins game, and
And
tell
tell
your
your
best
story.
Bills story.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about
there
this
I go.
last
Oh,
night.
that's
She
not
goes,
me.
I don't know what I would pick. I said, well, you probably want to lead with the games that you were there in person for. Like, right? Wouldn't that be where you start with your list of Bills memories? Like, it's got to be a game you were at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So she was thinking, like, probably the perfect playoff game would be one for her against the Patriots a couple of years ago. So
Yeah,
that was
mine was
good.
mine was way back.
well,
Yeah.
way
Me
back.
too.
Yeah.
I probably could have
Mine
guessed
was
that.
my first one was probably a Miami game. Yeah, probably Miami game. Apropos, it was my third game. We played here against Pittsburgh, and I didn't even know what was going. I didn't even know my I didn't know what my jersey number was until I showed up that day, right? So I show up, we played that game. Then we went on the road to New England. I actually blocked a punt in that game. Then we came back here for a home game. It was a Miami game. And I didn't know it was Miami I didn't know.
You didn't know, right?
And so I was like, it was raining and stuff. I was like, ain't nobody gonna be here, you know.
Right.
These people don't care. So I come out, and I'm like an hour before kickoff. I'm walking down the tunnel, and I'm thinking it's gonna be an empty house. I mean, we're just gonna be. I'm walking down the tunnel, and Bills Mafia, the fans are literally, guys are hanging over the side of the tunnel, and they're slobbering. And like Don Shula and those guys are walking down the tunnel, and they are giving him like, oh my! I'm like, do you kiss your mom with that mouth? They were like out. They were literally off their rocker. Right. They were like
an hour before kickoff.
It was like somebody was like holding them back. I was like, God.
Yeah.
I was like, what is? Yeah. I was like, then I asked, I go ask Abby, what is the deal?
Right.
And
then Abe sits you on his knee and let me explain.
Oh, you don't know. Hey, here you go. 0 for the 70s.
0 for the 70s,
right? I was like, okay, whatever.
Thurm, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Check him out in Lot 6 at the Highmark tailgate.